We all want to have relationships that feel emotionally safe and that feel really reliable. But it can be really hard if your days are filled with conversations that are really confusing and it almost feels like you're having two totally separate conversations. So today I'm talking about deflection, and we're going to be talking about why deflection is so toxic in a relationship and also why it can be really toxic if you're in a couples counseling situation. I'm Ketra Thompson and I'm a certified master hypnotist, and I want to thank you for joining me on this journey as we take a deeper look at an issue that oftentimes gets overlooked. And before we jump in, I want to remind you to hit like, hit subscribe so you can be notified every time I post a new video. So what is deflection? Deflection basically means that someone is purposely overlooking one thing in order to draw attention away from themselves. In emotionally destructive relationships, this happens a lot, and it especially happens if anyone is in couples counseling, especially in the kind of setting where someone isn't actually trained in emotional abuse. So I want to set the scene and give you just a really good example, okay? So imagine a room and the destructive spouse keeps telling their partner, there's cobwebs in that corner. Why don't you ever clean up the cobwebs in the corner? You never do this thing that I need you to do. Except for, in reality, there's an actual elephant in the middle of the room. That elephant is crapping on the floor, breaking things with its foot, breaking all of their belongings, and just creating absolute destruction. And this partner is running around trying to manage all of this breaking that's happening and clean it up and repair the damage and address what is the real issue, which is the elephant in the room. But the spouse is the elephant. And the spouse that's destructive is telling their partner about these cobwebs in the corner. And the partner seems so confused because they're saying, no, this is the real issue. These things that are happening over here, this big mess. Who cares about the cobwebs in the corner? I don't have time to get to them. So yes, I agree that they need to be cleaned up, but that's not the issue. And they go round and round and round. So here's how this might play out in the real world, in a real relationship with this dynamic. So in real life, the innocent spouse might be having a totally normal conversation with the emotionally destructive spouse, and they might say something that that person perceives as some kind of criticism, and they become triggered. So now this emotionally destructive spouse begins to spin the conversation, telling their partner what they really meant and telling them what their intentions were and insinuating that they were bad intentions and going on about what they actually meant. So this partner that's innocent over here that was just having a normal conversation has now been told what they meant, told what they feel, told what they think, and completely disregarded in the reality of the conversation because the emotionally destructive spouse has been triggered into their own shame wound, and they are now throwing arrows at that innocent spouse because they're on attack mode now. So this innocent spouse continues to try to over-explain what her real intentions were or his, and gets into this pattern of trying to repair while the other partner that's destructive is still spinning out of control, unable to calm down, and still blaming and criticizing. So now I want you to imagine they take this scenario into the couples counseling office, and it might go a little something like this. The emotionally destructive spouse asks for their turn to have their partner sit and listen and hold space for their thoughts and perspectives on this issue. They explain how much they just need their partner to just stop and listen to their feelings during these situations, how their partner isn't holding space for them during these arguments, and their partner isn't being understanding, and their partner isn't capable of allowing them the space to share their feelings. Now, the innocent partner feels really frustrated in this scenario because they're supposed to follow the rules in this counseling setting. They're supposed to just listen and validate without giving additional context outside of what has been presented. The truth is, there's a lot more context here. There's a lot more of a pattern about this destructive spouse being incredibly triggered and then also creating more damage to the innocent spouse with all their blaming and projecting and assumptions and criticisms. So not only is the trigger painful and abrupt, they continue to create pain and cause damage with their ongoing dysregulated behavior. Basically, the innocent partner is stuck. The other destructive partner is pointing at the cobwebs in the corner, and the innocent partner wants to say, "But look, there's an elephant in the room. I really can't sit here and agree to make some kind of compromise over cobwebs in the corner," when the reality is there's an elephant in the room that's destroying everything. This is why sometimes traditional talk therapy in an emotionally destructive relationship can be a complete waste of time and your energy and provide very little or no growth in the restoration process. So what can you do about it? Because this pattern keeps one partner over-explaining until they feel absolutely exhausted and frustrated, and it keeps the other partner in a position of being enabled to continue this destructive pattern of behavior, even if they don't mean to behave this way. If it's ongoing and they're unable to self-regulate and come back and make a real, honest repair that is curious about the pain they caused when they lost their crap, then you're not going to have traction in a relationship. An apology that takes hours, days, weeks sometimes to finagle out of someone that doesn't get backed up with actions doesn't create actual change in a relationship. The emotionally destructive spouse has to realize that they are the elephant in the room, as hard as that is to do. It takes a great deal of humility and self-reflection to get to the point of saying, yes, there's cobwebs in the corner to address, but first I've got to address that I'm the elephant in the room breaking crap. Unfortunately, this doesn't usually happen. The innocent spouse has to regain their confidence, their empowerment, their ability to hold boundaries, and to create a different dynamic, because that emotionally destructive spouse has to experience a shift, right? And the pain of them staying the same has to become greater than the pain of them changing. Because we all know change isn't easy. But if they keep being enabled to stay the same and the pain doesn't increase for them staying the same, meaning consequences aren't implemented, why would they go through the pain of changing? So whether that innocent person stays in the relationship in order to do that or decides to leave the relationship, they still need to be able to redefine their core beliefs. They need to be able to get to the heart of their belief system and anything inside their subconscious mind that is keeping them stuck, maybe in some kind of belief pattern that they're unworthy or they're unlovable or they won't be loved by anyone else. These limiting beliefs that have been planted in there a long time before this partner even came into their life. When they can redefine those and actually regain their self-worth, their confidence, and their feelings of just being empowered in their own life, that's when they can create real change. Now, they can't guarantee that their spouse is going to do all the work necessary, but they're taking a proactive stance saying, I want to change me so I can change the way my life works. So regardless of whether they stay or go, they've got to take initiative to do their own healing. And I love hypnosis for this, because hypnosis allows you to access your subconscious mind where all of those programs are stored, and it allows you to make really rapid shifts. Shifts that might take you years in other settings can take just a matter of weeks with a customized hypnosis program. When you're finally ready to break free from this cycle and to create that confidence in your life, check out that link below in my description to set up a free consultation call, because getting clarity on this issue and being proactive is your best chance to have the life that you actually deserve. I create customized hypnotherapy programs for all of my clients. And when I have a client that is in an emotionally destructive relationship, I couple that with my relational recovery program, which allows you to get even more traction, to gain even more insights, and to get a real reality check within you so that you can become the person that you've really always been. Before the world piled expectations on top of you, before the world piled all these belief systems that aren't in your best interest into your mind, the real core you that can feel empowered and brave and full of confidence. Because the truth is, when you change yourself, you change the world. So be sure to check out that link for my website. You can easily schedule a complimentary consultation call, and there's more resources on there. Free download of my hypnosis recording for relaxation. So be sure to check that out. And until next time, curate a life by your own design.